This is the Carty Method Podcast.
Did you miss me? Hey, it is me. I am Steve Carty. Welcome to another episode of the Carty Method Podcast. I am here, somebody who I just saw in person, Mr. Garen Rath. What is up, Garen? Good to see you again, my friend. It's been
How's it, Carty?
it's been only what seems to be a couple of days, my friend, since I've been there, but I am back, and after what was an 18-hour flight, I want you to wrap your head around flying from, and let me just get a little bit of beats going. After flying from literally Cape Town, I didn't get to fly Cape Town directly back to Toronto. No. I had to fly Cape Town to Amsterdam to Paris, and then Paris to Toronto with a 3 to 3.5 stopover in between each flight. So little bit jet lagged. That's why we didn't do a stream on Tuesday, but we are here to look at your editorial assignments. I'm very excited. We have 22 people who have submitted. Garant, talk to me about these editorial assignments and what we're about to look at.
So I think this has been a really great assignment, Carty. The Pro Lab and Portfolio Lab members really pull out the stops, and it's great to see how people have put their stories together through a series of images and how they all fit together. So I think this is a fantastic assignment. I'm really excited to get into the photos, and it looks really great to me, as I was prepping the show.
Sick.
If you're ready, we can jump into the first one.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We have 22 photographers that have submitted, and I just want to, I'm a little bit sick too. You might hear me a little bit snotty, but the vibe is that for the first time ever with Portfolio Lab, I allowed you, the photographers who are a part of Portfolio Lab, to submit multiple images. I've been looking at a single image for photo review for almost 2 years. The reason, the clear volume of the amount of people who were submitting, I couldn't look at multiple images. I could only look at one, so I could look at multiple people. The whole idea of Portfolio Lab is to help you develop your portfolio, and rarely is your portfolio a series of single images. So for the first time ever, I asked you to create an editorial portrait story, an editorial lifestyle story, an editorial product story. Whatever your niche was, I wanted you to share multiple images where one image builds on the next and builds on the next. I wanted you to shoot a cover. I wanted you to shoot double page images and supporting images, so you're essentially telling a magazine story through your niche. Garant, did the photographers who submitted hit the mark? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a bunch of participants that hit the mark really well. There's a lot of guys that still need a little bit of help with in terms of understanding what that story needs to be. It's not necessarily just a photo of a person replicated a couple of times, but that's what we're here to do, right? Is to learn and to, from your feedback, is build our skills and take the project on again and try better and have success at the end of the day. So let's jump in with that mindset and see how well everybody's done, because I do think that everybody gave it their best shot for sure.
Sick. So who are we starting with? Who's the first photographer we're looking at today?
Right. So our first photographer is Victor Liska, and he says, I sent this to Road Surfer, hoping to get one of their vans for my upcoming Scotland trip. Shot in Future Ventura, natural light. THX for the feedback, or thanks for the feedback, Carty and crew.
All right, let's get into it. Our first photographer of the day, this is an editorial story from Victor Liska. Victor, let's get it on. Victor, thanks for submitting, my guy. All right, Victor. So I asked for multiple stories before I give any kind of review. before I give any kind of review, I want to just look through your images. First image. Second image. Wow, Victor. Wow. Third image. This also is a double page spread. So this classifies as the second and third image. Next image. I mean, clearly Victor is a car photographer, and he's sharing an editorial car story from multiple different perspectives. And this is really strong. This is this the last image? I don't want to reveal the next. There's one final image. Perfect. This really, really strong. I like the mix of location without showing the car with close up of the car. I like the fact that you're showing yourself. Future. Let's go. Future. Hey, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Carty crew. Appreciate you, my guy, Future. Thank you for becoming a member. Welcome. Let's go. All right, Victor, I'm proud of this man's progress. Like, that's all I can say, Garand. I'm really proud of this guy's progress. And this image just hit so hard. Look at this as a double page. Like, editorially, one thing, Victor, that I'm noticing that you're doing is you're cropping your horizontal pictures to not 3 by 2. 3 by 2 is what we're supposed to be, but you see this extra edge here on this side and on this side, that's cropped. That means you're making your horizontal an 8 by 10 instead of an 8 by 12. It's supposed to be, this is so important. It's supposed to be 12 inches across this way. Hey, yo, let's go. The double exchange. Let's go. Thank you for becoming a member. Double exchange. We're gonna replay your alert because, my man, we missed it. So thank you for becoming a member. Let's get it on. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. So, Victor, this is a teachable and a learnable moment here. As much as you love this image, how it looks like this, cropped to an 8 by 10, the only time you would crop something to a 10 by 8 is for a frame. And this isn't what we're shooting for. We're shooting for editorial. So this is the one major miss here, is this is a horizontal picture that you've made an 8 by 10 because you cropped it the wrong way. Look at how much better it would have looked if you had have laid this out exactly how a double page spread is supposed to look, which when you hold your camera horizontal, that is 2 pages in a magazine exactly. 2 pages in a magazine exactly. You really have to lock that in. Let's look at the first couple again. Victor. This again, really strong cover. Let's look at it as a cover. Really strong editorial picture. I want to show you this as an 8 by 10 if this was to go to social media, but that's not really what we're talking about today. For me, this really is strong. Yes, make sure that this isn't a 10 by 8. Make sure that this is a 8 by 12. Great image. This also, as an alternative cover, is strong. I want you to consider pushing the horizon line down just a little bit. But overall, Victor, this is a really, really good swing. This is Victor Liska, everybody. I'm going to give you an 11 on that one, my guy. This is Victor Liska, our first photographer. Good job, Victor. Good job. Garant, thoughts?
Yeah, I think I really like what Victor's done there in terms of the color tone or the palette is unified across all the images. There is a real story that's being told. He's taking us on a journey. He's giving us a sense of the feeling, the experience of the place, and the activity that he's busy doing. So I've got only praise for this submission. That's why we opened with it, because it's one of the really good ones.
Amazing. So, Garen, who do we have next? Great job, Victor. Thanks for submitting. Who's next on the docket?
Next up, we've got Nkumba Booker Jr. He says, "Hello, crew. Welcome back. I went to a fair in my area this weekend and decided to step out of my comfort zone and try to make a few pictures into an article type format. Unfortunately, didn't get to do this with the candle business that I had pitched for last week."
All right. So, Nkumba Booker Jr., let's get it on. Nkumba, thanks for submitting. I appreciate you. Okay, so I believe there's 4 images from Nkumba. This is his first image. Second image from Nkumba. Third image. And the final image. Okay, so I have a couple of things to say. We're going to start from the first image. For me, this is a lesson in framing. Okay, so this image is begging to be centered. It's really pushed one way. You can see it's so simple to just drop your horse rider right here. Just drop that whole scene right here instead of offset. Guess what happens there is you cut out this little light area that takes your eye to here. I don't mind this here, like this foreground that's in the front of the picture. I can't really tell what it is, whether it's you making something disappear in Photoshop or like, Garen, can you give me your thoughts on what is going on down here?
I'm going to imagine from shooting a bunch of these sort of events myself in the past, I'm going to say that's part of the paddock fence that's in the front of the frame.
It's in the foreground.
Yeah, because there is deep out of focus sort of area there. So I'm going to say that's probably part of the fence.
Okay, so in this case for me, I get that because it's so white and it's so dominating, it's kind of taking our eye away from here and it's kind of pulling us out of the frame. So I'm on the fence about this, but your straightness this way and how lined up this is, it's very like, move your subject over just a little bit and this area I let go. Okay, that's for the first one. Second picture, now we're really into a framing problem because what you're doing is you're trying to include 2 things in one photo. Watch this. You're trying to include this, but you're also trying to include this. And you care so much about what's happening back here that's out of focus that you're actually lining up your frame to make sure this is okay and totally sacrificing the horse's head, this girl's hand, and it's really throwing me off. Like how claustrophobic this is and cutting off the horse here, it's just throwing me. This is a non sequitur. It's not important at all. Like not important at all. I know we're at a horse stable. Showing me that background out of focus, this is just taking me out of this moment. So that's what an art director is going to say to you when you submit this to a magazine. So really watch your framing, and it's 1 picture, not 2. And because of that, you've offset this subject now so much and the horse so much that it's just now a non-usable picture. Okay. Next, this next image, this little bit of extra here is not needed. The where the eye line is dropping, it's going right through her head, and then the expression on this girl's face doesn't look like she's happy to be there. She doesn't need to be looking at you, but how, like, the moment that you choose, it has to be like an up moment, not like a down moment. So for me, there's a couple of things that are really throwing me, and then also just how the horizon line starts to go down that way. It's a little crooked this way. Like, there's lots of busy happening in the background. It's up to you to be moving and like deciding how you're going to shoot this in a way that doesn't involve the background so much. There's a couple of distracting elements here, that color here, what's going on up here, and mostly her expression. The crop on this is good because you can see you can work this as an 8x10, yes, and this is what it would look like on Instagram. But you can see just with this crop, it's so much now more of an interesting picture. But the issue is her expression still. It's just like that. Sadly, cropping doesn't save her expression. And the last frame here, I'm going to hide our two cameras. The last frame, again, it's the framing. You're including her and also her, but this horse's head is completely cut off. And if you look at this as a double page spread, this horse's head is completely cut off because it's on the gutter. So you really have to be thinking when you're shooting a double page spread. And also, just for you, Victor, this is what a double page spread is supposed to look like when you're shooting horizontal. It's the whole picture. You do not crop it to an 8x10. This is why. Okay. This crop and what's going on here, the whole head of the horse is going to be lost in the gutter. So this is going to be a magazine that's going to have a double page spread, but then it's going to be a headless horse here because it's caught in the gutter, and then a headless horse over here because that horse wasn't considered when you were taking this picture. So this one is a picture that we don't include because it's not a final. So that, for me, again, this is difficult to tell multiple images, to get multiple pictures in a single story and have them all hit. But that's what we do because we're photographers, and that's the next thing that you really have to practice. Garan, by the way, thank you for submitting. Garan, what did I miss?
So just some advice for Nakumba regarding these type of events, should he choose to carry on with this sort of stuff. It really helps if you go early and choose your spots we'll be shooting from. Look at the backgrounds, look at what's going on in your frame. With sporting events and stuff, plan the shots beforehand. That always helps so that you know what's going to happen and you can sort of practice where your framing is going to be. And also, from an editorial point of view, I'd suggest maybe select one of the participants or one of the riders and follow their story through the day. Include both detail shots and the wides, and then obviously the full length. But from this series, it's all about this particular equine event, but it's a little bit disjointed because there's nothing carrying us from picture to picture to picture. But great attempt. Go for it again. And yeah, the exposure and everything looks great. Also go a little bit lower. It really helps with horses just to get lower to the ground. It makes them powerful in the frame. But great attempt.
Yeah, that's really well said. The other big ad is you're only shooting them when they're doing the horse stuff. Like, that's what what happens after their run? Show them walking the horses back to the stable. Like, tell more of the story. The way that you're shooting this is like, I was there. That happened. Click. That happened. Click. That happened. But what about the people who are watching the event? The people who are up here? This thing over here? What's happening inside Saddles and Spurs over? Like, there's so much more of the story that you can be telling, but you're telling the most simple story, which is what happened when the event thing when the horses were running around. Like that. Shoot one photo of that. Shoot two, but then shoot the girl off the horse, walking the horse back to the, like, show the girl just before she's about to start. Show close-ups. Show, like, you need to mix perspectives. And, like, that's a big part of how you tell an editorial story. Thank you so much for submitting, Nakumba. Who is next on the docket? Mr. Garan Rath.
Next up is a photographer I'm really excited about because he just breaks strides every time he submits. We've got William Sedgwick, and he says, thanks for the review, Carty, and welcome back.
All right. So this is Mr. William Sedgwick. William, thank you so much for submitting. William Sedgwick. So as always, we're going to look through all the photos, and then I'm going to give you my assessment. This is image number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Let me just confirm with Garan, there's only 4 images with William?
Correct.
All right, we're going to go back to image number 1. Now, let's look at this as a cover. Cover-wise, I think that this is a pretty strong swing. The thing that I like about this is he's slid in some stuff. Like, this is new for William. The exposure is good. The non-distracting background is good. There's like a swag to it, but he slid in some stuff. He slid in a coffee. He slid in a Nike, like I would call this a golf tee, or maybe a tennis tee. The hat, like the hat swaggies it up, and his expression, real good eye contact. For me, this is a yes. This one hits for me really hard. This hits hard for me. Okay, so let's see the next image. This now, I'm going to hide the doubles. Let's hide us. This is our double. This is our double page spread. So this is representing 2 pictures. Let's look at this as a double. And again, William, you're close to this gutter. You're getting a little bit close. And then this is where you jump the shark. Like this, him like, hey, I also, remember that coffee I was holding before? I'm also holding it here. Now you lost me. You know, and again, this kind of a thing, like, he's in this cafe, so he doesn't need to be looking at camera ever. Like, what would he be doing in the cafe? Is he trying to like talk up this girl? Is he trying to talk up this girl here? You know, he's also at a place where he's a bit higher up than this girl. She's quite low. Like, what can he be doing in this scene that editorializes it a little bit more than, hey, I just got this coffee? So again, like, could he be dressing the coffee? Could he be putting sugar in there? Could he be like, you know what I mean, stirring it up? Like, just something where he's now interacting with this, so it doesn't look like, here's me with the coffee. But again, close, Sedgwick. This is one of those, like, for the average photographer, this would be a 10 out of 10. But for the photographer that I'm trying to turn you into, that's not a 10 out of 10. I also want you to see the exposure down here is much lower than the exposure on this image. Look at how poppy the coffee is here. And again, we don't need to carry the coffee through the whole thing because we're already in a coffee shop. Like, make it like she's making that coffee for him. Show me a different part of this story. Next, he's death gripping that coffee. Again, you're propping him this way to hold the coffee. He wouldn't be holding the coffee. He would be focusing on this. He'd reach for the coffee, grab a drink, put the coffee down, go back to his magazine. So this is a case where, again, it's a little bit overly propped. You're also shooting two pictures where you're caring much about what's happening behind him. You're offsetting him to the point where this is now too claustrophobic to the end for an editorial, because now you lose an eighth of an inch on every side. So when this actually goes to print, it's clipping here. And now the art director is not printing it. And this little bit here, that's clipping here as well. So it's pushing him even further over. And how close this is, well, that's also cropping here and cropping here. How far you are on the bottom here, William, is good. The expression here is good. The fact that he's really not focused on camera and looking at is good. The fact that you shot it with a lens that gives like a nice depth of field and shows distance in this scene is good, but I still think like you could either pull back a little bit, go way, like there's a way that you can frame this to make this shot just a little bit more compelling and not so about this kind, like worry more about his framing, push him more inside the frame so he's more in front of this and you can still hold the same composition. Is there one more, G? Or is this the last one? One more. Okay. And the last. Now this, again, super, super, super swaggy. Holding the coffee again, like super, like, you know what I mean? There's got to be, he's got to drink this coffee at some point. Like, there has to be some sort of, like, it can't, like, what else is what, like, holding it with two hands, like maybe he's being funny, you know what I mean? Maybe he spilled it. Like, what's that thing that makes this hit? For me, I'm calling this an alternate cover because, again, really strong cover composition, and again, such a strong single image also will work so well as an 8x10. But again, like, William, the photographer that I'm trying to turn you into is the top 1%. One of the photographers that is sought after, a photographer that gets flown places. Like, I'm getting you there. This is such a good exercise for you. For me, I'm incredibly proud of you because, again, I think for you, this is definitely an 11. I'm giving you love. This is really a really good swing. Again, the things that I pointed out for you, I'm wanting to get a little bit more variation in between, variation in perspective, and but again, still, I'm giving you an 11. I still think that you really hit this one hard. Like, really, really good job. Guren?
Yeah, I think it's brave for William to have gone black and white with all the images here. The tones are really nice. The exposure is great. The contrast is great. Again, the first and the last image for me is too similar to each other. But I think William really got a good story going here. Now it's just jumping into the details, jumping into the feeling, the culture that the coffee shop is producing. Show us those other things. Sell us the feeling of the coffee shop. Or the feeling that this man is having by being there. But great work, William.
Yeah,
really good
I
work.
think so. I think so as well. Really, really good swing, Sedgwick. All right. Who's up next, Mr. Rath?
Next up, we've got Reginald Ross, and he says, "This is part of my lifestyle series accentuating the culture of San Pedro, California. The series was shot outside in natural lighting around noon."
All right. This is Reginald Ross. Thank you so much, Reginald, for submitting. Reginald Ross. What we're doing is looking through all of the pictures first. I believe there's 4 with Reginald, yes?
Correct.
All right. This is image 1. Image 2. Image 3. and image 4. All right, Reginald, thank you for submitting. Let's get back to image number 1 with Reginald. I'm going to show our cameras. Reginald, I know that I'm going to choose what I think is your cover, what I think is your best, and how I think that I would put this story together. First, this image, you wait a second longer for this guy to come on, so he's here instead of completely half cut off of the frame. And also, like, where the horizon line is dropping, it's very observational as far as you as the person who's taking this picture. It's not quite, it feels snapshotty. It feels a little snapshotty. I'm not seeing enough of the boat. And again, when you're shooting editorial, you have to shoot the most interesting people, and their foot position has to be in the right space. They have to be kind of spaced out the right way. So for me, again, the way this turret is cut off, and I don't really see what boat, like it, to me, this is like not quite telling me enough of the story as an editorial photographer. So this one misses a little bit. Now I'm going to hide our cameras. Let's look at this double page spread. First thing I have to do is show you what it looks like as a double page spread and show you where the gutter of the magazine falls and how this 61, this comes right in the middle of the frame, which means you're not going to see that 6. You're only going to see part of that 1. And also, this whole thing that's happening up here, this is all going to be gone because it's going to be in the gutter. So your lines also, let's look at this. I want to just draw a line here. And you can see how that line is not exactly straight. So that also becomes a factor. Like, well, it looks like it's straight this way, but it's not straight in the most important way, which is horizontally. So that's also like where you're cropping back here. Like this, to me, it's really tricky to use this and call it an editorial without like this for me, Reginald, is where experience comes. Now this for me is your strongest, it's your strongest image. Like I see it's a bit of a memorial. You're cropping this out a little bit. You're cropping this out a little bit. I know you're trying to get into the brass tacks, which is this. Looking at this one as a cover, I feel like this is your strongest image. I want you to see what this would look like as an 8x10, which is a little bit more claustrophobic, but still for me would work. So far, this is your strongest image. And I'm going to show you now your last image, which again for me now feels a little snapshotty because you're trying to include him. You've offset him and put him super close to the edge of the frame. He's standing in the wrong spot on this runway. He needs to be standing dead center so you can have these lines all work like leading line bringing you in. But he's too off to the center. He's got a water bottle in his hand. He's got a lanyard around his neck. And it just feels like it's one of those like, hey, can I take your picture? And yeah, click. And then he kept going. Like it's not as intentional as it needs to be for an editorial spread. If you're doing these kinds of pictures, you need to have it take a stand. You have to make it funny. You need to make it kitschy. You need to make it serious. You need to make it like military. Like there has to be some sort of a take. And if you're not having a take, Reginald, then it just feels like snapshots. Again, I know I'm pushing you way outside your comfort zone. But again, it's like for me, this is your strongest of the lot. Water bottle, drop it, lanyard off, have him take one step to his right, your camera left, and wait for the gentleman who's up here to walk out of your picture. So you just have him in a relatively blank scene. And then for me, that starts to click a little bit more. Also, don't be afraid to go closer. Don't be afraid to show like a close up image of this gentleman. Let me hide that. Garan, what are your thoughts?
So I think Reginald, what he did for me was he told a mini story here, because I think the elements are there. Yes, definitely some composition issues, but if this was redone with everything that you said now, this to me is quite a strong story put together. We see the ship as a whole, so we've got a wide, we've got a detail shot that tells us quite a lot about the history that's going on here. We've got the people interacting with the space. So I think from Reginald's going in the right direction, and now it's just working on the actual composition. I also feel like exposure might be a little bit on the high side, so maybe just half a stop down, like generally. But I think this is a good attempt. It just needs to work on the composition.
I agree. I think, Garan, that's all really good points. And again, Reginald, like, as I was saying earlier, where I'm trying to take the photographers that participate in Portfolio Lab is to the top 1% of the photographers in the industry, the photographers that actually work. You know, I mean, I'm lucky enough to be one of those photographers. I'm at the point now where I can handpick the jobs that I do. And again, the portfolio, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in our pudding when it comes to the photography that we make to represent us, in order to use that as examples to show people that we can do this. So you're on your way. And watching this show, participating in Portfolio Lab, being a member of Portfolio Lab, and I'm hoping you're thinking about being in my accelerator, this is how you get there. This is a really good swing for me. Again, this is a really good swing. And you know, Garan, this is why we do this together. Is you give such a great perspective. You give a really great perspective for me. Again, a couple of misses, but overall for me, Reginald, this is an 11. Really well done. Really well done. All right. I just want to have a little segue here. And again, we're going to be looking at images, so get comfortable. Just want to do a little bit of a segue. I was recently in Cape Town, South Africa. I flew Toronto to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Cape Town. Toronto to Amsterdam is 8 hours. Amsterdam to Cape Town is like 11 and a half hours. I went there to build. My kids are half South African. My ex is from South Africa. She's also from Cape Town. The first photographer that I really connected with when I lived in South Beach when I was 24 years old, his name was Kim Gildenhees, and him and his girlfriend were photographer and stylist. And again, some of the most interesting people I've ever met. So much so I had kids with a South African. Which leads us into me meeting Mr. Garan Rath. This guy who is very nonchalant, not even knowing that he's on camera right now. Mr. Garan Rath is the most interesting man in the world. Like, you've seen the Dos Equis guy, like, what you guys see of Garan, if you're part of the Carty method, if you're in Pro Lab, if you're in Portfolio Lab, if you see Garan in these Zoom calls, and like, you know, obviously when Garan's on Zoom, I got to spend so much time with Garan. Garan took me around half the country. Like, literally, Garan drove, I would say, I'm guessing, Garan, about 700 kilometers during the time that I was in
We clocked
Cape
1,000. Yeah, we clocked just over 1,000.
No way. So Garan again took me all over this country. he set up a photo shoot for me, and like I was super, got a model, blah blah blah. Literally next day, model cancels, and I had met Garan's wife, kids, and one of his daughters is very into modeling, and I shot a couple of pictures of her, posted them on Instagram, and I'm like, well, I could shoot Rory, his daughter. So I ended up photographing his daughter. We had a Garan then that day became my assistant. He put together two, and my producer and like provider of model. Like he just did so much for myself and my girl, Cheryl, that I mean, oh my God, this guy made that trip so special. And, yeah, I actually feel like I really connected with Garan. And again, he is the most interesting guy in the world. Like he doesn't lean in enough, but Garan definitely made that trip amazing. Garan, any thoughts about me being in Cape Town before we get on to our next shooter?
Oh, it was great having you here. I'm glad to report Cape Town is still standing after the storm that is Carty came through it. So we really enjoyed having you and Cheryl, and we loved spending time with you guys. And it was it was just a good experience to actually get to know you on a personal level as well. That it wasn't all just work all the time. And I know my daughter really enjoyed the shoot with you. You're very professional when you do work on shoot. And just such a calm and easy way about you. At no point was there any stress involved. It was just, let's make happen with what we got. And I think it was a wonderful time that you were here. And we had good weather for some of the days. So I'm glad that we got out and about and got to show you the things that make South Africa beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like kind of in shock with what I saw and what I captured and the video content that I have and upcoming videos that I'm going to drop for you, and the like walk-in shoot that I did in, was that Grotto Bay? Like there's so many places that you took me, man. Like I just like I'm still processing, but I will be back probably sooner rather than later, mister. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back in December. All right, let's get into our next shooter. Grant, thank you for hosting me and my girl. By the way, you're a king. Absolutely amazing.
Anytime.
All right, G, who do we got next, my guy?
All right, next up we've got Natalie Bendersky Shalem. She says, first time submitting, excited to join the community. This is a series of photos from the Beach Volleyball Israeli Championship Women's Semi-Final. It took place on Thursday, August the 28th. In this series, I focused on the first match of the day, which had two strong teams and was very close until the last moment. The team in white won.
All right, Natalie Bendershot Shalem. All right, Natalie, let's get it on. I'm excited to look. How many images do we have from Natalie Garan? Is it 5?
5 in total. Yeah.
All right, Natalie, let's look at your images. Thank you so much for submitting, and welcome to Portfolio Lab, Natalie. Natalie, she's coming in hard. This is photo number 1. Photo 2. Photo number 3. Photo number 4. And photo number 5. Natalie, thanks for submitting. We're going to go back to photo number 1. All right, Natalie, I have a lot to say. First of all, welcome. Thank you for submitting. When we shoot editorially, the important thing is to know that we're shooting to a layout. So the number one thing when you're providing images for an art director, give the whole image. Give the whole image. And I can see that you've cropped this to 8 by 10 to 9 by 12. Like, what are you cropping it to? Now, I don't know what you're cropping it to, and you don't know what I need you to crop it to, which is why you give me the whole image, because I'm the boss. So I need to see exactly what you shot, so I tell you how I'm cropping it for my magazine. You do not get to pre-shape shorten, punch in, or anything like that. You don't get to do that in an editorial world. So I'm showing you what this would look like as a cover if you had not cropped this, but I'm not changing my proportions because it's important for you to learn that lesson. Okay. Always give the entire image for submission. So if you shot an 8x12, submit an 8x12, and now the art director can see this is what it looks like as a cover. This is how much I can take off top and bottom. I can push the image up. I can pull the image down. The art director can now decide where the horizon line goes, but you're deciding for me, and that's a no-no. Okay, these are editorial rules and things that you need to learn when it comes to shooting for magazines. Okay, let's look at your next image. I'm going to hide my double page spread here. This is a double page spread. This is 2 pages in a magazine. Where does this go 2 pages in a magazine? When I show my overlay, you can see that the gutter is cutting her entire head off. So you can see the natural place to put the gutter would be right here, through here. So you move your crop that way, show her bum, which is kind of sexy in volleyball. Like, this is a really hot shot of a woman's volleyball player. The crop is great. The lens selection is great, but you shot a center focused horizontal. I want you to think, where does this go other than on the internet? It doesn't go in a magazine. And if it does go in a magazine, I'll show you where it goes. In a magazine, it now goes on 1/2. It goes right here. It goes on 1/2 of 1 page. So you've just lost, you've gone from the opportunity to shoot a double page spread to now you get a 1/2 page because you didn't crop it for a magazine. You cropped it for social media, or you cropped it for the internet. So again, very important teachable moment. This would be so good if you didn't care about this and put her face right here in anticipation and ended with her bum. Okay, let's hide this and now look at your next image. Strong, it's serve, there's movement, but this guy back here is distracting. Where you're cutting the feet, also distracting. And again, you're pre-cropping this picture, and like, I don't know if her feet are there. Like, maybe I would crop it differently as the art director, but the place that you cut is here. That's when you're cropping, like, that's where the picture cuts. It doesn't crop down there. And you're cutting up here, which is kind of important to the frame. And you have to, like, where you're standing here is creating a lot of distractions in the background. I'm seeing what's happening here, but again, it's like the juxtaposition of where you are. I love her movement, but it's not the right frame. And this is better. This is better. And if I'm looking, well, you're cropping this picture, but then you're not cropping this picture. So this is how pictures are supposed to be submitted, which is the whole frame. So now I can show you what a cover would look like of this picture. I can also show you what this picture would look like as an 8x10. Like, this is how it's supposed to be done, but all the other pictures that you submitted pre-cropped was wrong. But look at this. This is one of the best images. There's some pretty good movement. The ball is coming in here. There's room here for her feet. So, and again, this girl's not that distracting. It's dynamic. Your lines are straight. And again, this showing the net in front adds like another dimension. I mean, the way that her arms are, hard for you to control. It's not like the ideal thing. Like, I kind of want to see a spike or like some sort of a reach. But again, for me, this is your strongest image. Is there one more, Garan?
One more.
All right. And the last, oops. Hello. Why is it not letting me? Oh, because I have that on. Never mind. Okay, this is a strong one. And you can see here, again, you didn't crop this one either. You gave me the whole frame. Now, you can see when this goes to an 8 by 10, you're going to either lose the top of the ball or you're going to lose the bottom of your foot, which means you need to move back and know how much top and bottom you have to give a frame so it actually works on all the formats that you need it. Your lines are strong. Exposure feels like it's a little low, but again, this girl's super tanned. I love the movement, love the serve. Again, very strong image. What's going on in the background is non-distracting. Again, this is a really, really strong one. For me, you're new to submitting. Where's Garin? Show Garin. There you are. You're new to submitting. I'm happy that you're submitting because you're a good photographer. I'm going to turn you into a killer photographer. I need to know a little bit more about you, what kind of photography that you're trying to do. Are you trying to be an editorial portrait shooter? Do you shoot sports specifically? Are you shooting editorial sports? Are you only documenting games as they're happening? Are you shooting these athletes outside the sport? Like, I need to know more about you, and so I can help you develop. And also, portfolio lab is one part of what I do. The next level is my Pro Accelerator and Pro Lab. So again, my Pro Accelerator, we're getting into a little bit of a info session tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're talking about Pro Accelerator. We're talking about everything that you need to know, how to sign up. And again, all you need to do to qualify is have phase 0 completed, and you still have lots of time to complete phase 0. But again, info session on my accelerator. Go to the cartymethod.com/accelerator to learn about how you can participate with the webinar that's happening tonight. All right. So overall, for me, this is really good from Alenia. Is that how you say it? Natalia? Natalie. Oh my God. Natalie. Okay. Well, it's not. Again, she's Israeli. Natalie, really, really, really good attempt from me. Garan, I want to hear your thoughts.
Really pleasing color palette again. Good time of day to shoot, and yeah, it's great sports moments. I think editorially, I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit more of a detail shot. Foot in the sand or sand dripping off the hands. Something like that. And again, maybe something off the court that tells us a little bit more about the day that's happening. But as a series of sports images, and definitely for a first-time submission, you're coming in very strong. So well done. Keep it up. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing with us in the future.
Amazing. I 100% agree. And again, it's like, I'm trying to turn you into one of those photographers that when other photographers hear your name, they're like, oh no, she's really good. All right, Garan, who do we have next?
Next up is Malik Brand, and he says, I wanted to create a success magazine style editorial story of the owner of the studio I work for, highlighting him as the founder, a content creator, and a visionary.
All right. How many images do we have from Mr. Malik Brand? Four images, 5 with the double page. Yeah. All right. This is Mr. Malik Brand. Malik, thanks for submitting. So as always, we're going to look through Malik's multiple images, and then we are going to talk about it. Malik's first image. Second. Third image. Last image. All right, Malik, thank you for submitting. Let's go back to image number 1. All right, Malik. So light-wise for me, again, you're starting to push your boundaries as far as what you're doing with light and how you're trying. This is a good swing. It has an editorial feeling. Again, it's like your role is to kind of document this creator without putting too much of you on him. This is a good swing. Color-wise, it's good. Tonally correct. I want you to see what this would look like as an 8x10 as we would lose a little bit below his hand and obviously a little bit above there, but still for me works out. Next image here, Malik. This double page spread for me, let me just hide my cameras. This double page spread for me works. Like, you did this with a certain level of discipline, Malik, that I've been working with you to get to for quite a long time. So this is really good for me. You got to watch the color balance. This is looking a little bit blue. So that's white balance. His skin tone looks okay, but I also want you to look at his skin tone from image to image and how, let me just hide that, how his skin tone looks here versus how his skin tone looks here. And for me, that he feels a little bit colder in this image, but the crop is amazing, and color balance like this you can fix relatively easy. I want you to also look at like how cold the the white text looks on the back of his tee. Just fix the color balance. Let me hide that. Next image. This now, again, he's like vlogging. The perspective is high. Like, this is too high of a, like, and the reason that, because now it messes with all of your layout, bro. All of your layout is messed because this guy is like doing this with his hand. So like, no one vlogs like that far down. It's more of a straight on perspective. So imagine this guy, instead of his arm so up, he now has his arm a little bit more this way. And now you can, and you just look at all this space over here. You have to move him so you don't cut off his arm. And then his eye line is not like so looking up, which is kind of forcing him backwards. It now feels a little bit more that way. You know what I mean? So again, and also then we see the camera, because the camera is now against something that's blue and not black, which you can see the black camera on the black background. Like, we're losing what that is. Only someone in the know. You got to push him a bit back that way, lower the camera, have him bend his arm a little bit so you can see that he's interacting with that camera. For people who look at this for the half a second that people take to look at photos, you need to be able to hit that message in that really quick spot. Is there one more, G? This is the last one. One more. Okay. And again, this for me is just, it's a bit conservative, like the way that he's holding his hands and the background. Like, again, I know that this is his set, but the way that this line is and this line, like, there's a lot behind him that is kind of fighting for attention. His first image is much more like just him, but there's just the RGB, there's a lot of busyness. And again, the way his hands are, it feels a little bit too corporate. Looser hands in his pockets, arms crossed. Like, there has to, like, the way that his hands are for me feels like not editorial. It feels a little like it's not quite that like hit. And then also smile, like the smile in every picture. Smile, next picture, smile, next picture. The back, this is one of the strongest. And then this next same smile. So he has to like be a badass sometimes. Like, he can't always be like, hey, a girl might be looking. Like, and that's kind of what it feels like. It almost feels artificial, like he's putting it on. So that's the stuff that, as editorial photographers, we have to correct that. And if you look at my site, if you look at the way that I share pictures and the way that I show photography per se, like, let me just show you. So you can see that we're not usually showing people smiley. Like, that's not the editorial feeling that we're trying to show. Like, it's not smiley dudes. Like we're trying to make people feel a little bit like this is editorial. Like, that's what you have to lock in. Looking at tear sheets, you can see it's rarely smiley guy. It's rarely that. So for me, that's the thing that you have to lock in. Yes, every once in a while there is going to be a dude smiling, but that's the thing that we have to lock in. It can't be so many of the smiling dudes. It just it starts to feel, after a while, Malik, artificial. Garant, give me your thoughts.
I just want to say the double page spread on this, I think, was really strong, because I can see how the editor might use that blank space that you've left there to put some text on, or the title of the article. So well done on that one, Malik. That was a great shot, a great design of shot. Again, I think the first and the last picture are a little bit too similar. Again, maybe lack of detail. So something that's closer, maybe these glasses that he's holding in his hand, or something that tells us a little bit about his personality that is in his office or on his attire. I think that would have been strong, but a good series of images, exposure is great. I do hear what you're saying. A little bit about the background is quite busy in the last two shots. But yeah, that second shot's my favorite. I really enjoyed it.
Sick. Really, really, really good swing. That was Malik Brand. Malik, again, each time that we do this, we get better. Every single time that we do this, my guy, we get better. You just keep pushing. Keep pushing. Thank you for submitting. This was Malik Brand. Malik, thank you. All right, Garant, who's next?
Next up, we've got Rafael Ortiz, and he says, Beachbound, editorial of someone lost on the way to the beach and settled for where she is. Taken on location in a parking lot.
Rafael Ortiz. So, how many images from Rafael, Garant? Four images from Mr. Rafael Ortiz. All right, everybody, this is Rafael Ortiz. Let's get it on. Image number 1 from Rafael. Image number 2. Image 3. Image 4. So, Rafael, let's go back to image number 1. You seem to be trying to tell a story here, Rafael, which for me is good. That's the whole point. That's what we're trying to do here. The girl is bringing her floaty someplace where a floaty wouldn't normally be. Let's look at this as a cover. Again, it's editorial. She's cute. It's like... I'm seeing what you're doing. And again, I'm pushing you into a new realm, Rafael. I feel like... I'm getting you there. All right, second image. Let me just hide this cover. This is our double page spread. Let's look at what this looks like as a double. You can see where she's placed great, but this is placed too much on the gutter. I would definitely move this over. I would flip it over the rail. I would make it like maybe it got caught here and that's why it ripped, because the first picture she's kind of crossing over. So here you have this a little bit more anchored center, so it's not on the gutter, because again, you're going to lose all intentions because it's like dead center in that frame. Her expression, again, she's looking at camera. Have her looking at the map. Like, not every picture she has to be like, oh, at camera, this is happening. And oh, at camera, this is happening. And oh, at camera, like, that's kind of what's happening. So you're taking the editorial angle and you're making it kind of kitschy by doing that. So I want you to watch, like, this first picture, eye contact. Second picture, eye contact. Third picture, eye contact. Again, like, she's not living an experience, she's playing to you. And it's so obvious because, like, She's not about this. She's just about like, is the camera seeing me right? Like, so you're taking us out of it because you're not editorializing it by having her actually care about the thing that she's pumping up right now instead of looking at camera. So for me, Raphael, like, that's a miss by using every one of these images as a way for her to look at camera. Like, it's a little bit much. And then this last picture, okay, so now it's pumped up and now she's happy looking at camera. So again, for me, it's the location is good, the light is good, the idea is the idea is good, but it's just, I feel like her as the actor, she's kind of a bit of a bad actor. She's trying a little bit hard and it feels a little bit too LA and not reality enough, you know? And again, I'll go back to the over smiling, the over, like, it's just, you need to mix, when you're shooting multiple pages, you have to mix in eye contact with no eye contact. All right, that is Rafael Ortiz. Garan, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think great attempt. Good idea with building a little story and great use of, you know, a simple location that you might not have it. You didn't have access to the beach or you know, just building this cute little story. What I would say is there's a lot of similarity between the 4 images. So subject, background, props, everything's the same in all 4. And I really would have liked, yeah, and the perspective. So and that's probably my main thing is I would have really have liked to see you move the camera around and go somewhere else and get this from another angle, in at least 2 of them. So to give the viewer a chance just to escape this, it looks like a locked off frame. But other than that, exposure, you know, everything looks fantastic. Nice colors that you chose as well. I like the way the green, the yellow, and the pink play off each other. Good attempt.
All right, so Raphael, again, I would love to see you swing at this again after this review, knowing like when we're telling editorial stories, look at a magazine, find how an editorial story is told, and you'll see it's not one perspective 4 times, and rarely is it the same outfit when you're trying to shoot something that's like fashionable. I understand what you're trying to do here, but how you make this and take this to the next level is show her in 4 different locations with this as she's on her way to this beach. Show this her on the side of the road once. Then what happens? Like, that's what we're trying to do. That's what makes these stories more compelling. And when you're actually looking at this in a magazine and you're thinking page, like left page, right page, it's like girl here, same shot. Next thing, same shot. Flip page, double page, same perspective. And then the cover was the same. It's like, they're just not going to run that. So that's what I want you to be thinking about in future, Mr. Ortiz. Thank you for submitting. Rafael Ortiz. Who's next, Mr. Rath?
Right, next up we've got Denise Tuggle. She says, "Hey Carty, welcome back. For this assignment, I found a line of beauty products called Advanced Clinicals."
All right, Advanced Clinicals. How many images are we looking at, Mr. Rath?
We've got a total of 4.
4 images. Denise Tuggle, let's get it on, Denise. Thanks for submitting. Image number 1 from Denise. Image number 2. Image number 3. Image number 4. So let's go back to image number 1. Denise, the first thing that I'm seeing is you're shooting like 2 stories like in one. Like I have 1-2 shots here and then 1-2 shots this way. I also want you to think about that page next to that page and how lay them out in a magazine. Put one next to the next. Like it's the same shot twice. Wouldn't you change the perspective from the second shot? Like, this is not how we do an editorial. It's not one shot, next shot, and then this shot, next shot. Like, it has to feel more story-like. Yes, you shot this as, oops, Let me hide those. Yes, you shot this as a double page spread, and yes, it's composed well as a double page spread, but just starting with this dark background, the exposure on this is a little dark, but it's better than this one, which is really dark. Like this is under by at least half a stop. So, and then also how this is versus this, like they don't feel like they're lined up very straight, and then your angles here with these lines don't exactly feel like they're like this is just a tricky picture to make. But then you didn't make 5 pictures of this. It's now this is like a whole now other set idea doesn't fit in the same story. And you wouldn't put this one next to a dark one because that also is very conflicting. I think this really missed the boat of an editorial story. You start with intelligent imitation. You find a photographer that's a great product photographer. You find a product that he shot she shot multiple pages of, and then you intelligently imitate how you now find a product that's similar to that product and then also do multiple pages of. Product light wise here, this lighting, no bueno. Like the way that this is blocky, the highlights down here, again, for me, it's like you're trying to do too much in this one photo. Stacking these 3 products together, it's just for me not working. Single product, yes, but the way that then you're also kind of half cropping and half including this other non-related, like just IKEA like prop, like it kind of feels like in the background, is not elevating your product. And the product that you selected is not, like, it just looks like drugstore stuff. It doesn't look luxury, and no one is going to put drugstore looking products in their magazine. They're just not. So there's a lot wrong here. Garan, give me your 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Denise, I think missed the mark a little bit this week with there's 2 different product shoots going on here in terms of environment and lighting. And I think the choice of the product might not have been the strongest. So let's go back to the drawing board. Let's think about, if we're going to do this product, let's focus less on the product and more about what the product does for us and how the product is used. That's the editorial part of it, rather than just showing the product boom on its own.
That's such a key point. It's about how the editorialize, like now it's in a magazine, so you're now showing a person using this product. Now that could be a pair of sunglasses, that could be it could be a cup from Starbucks, because like you're doing a little coffee editorial. Like you need to have an angle. It can't just be like, I'm just going to grab 4 products, I'm going to do some of them here, I'm going to do some of them here, I'm going to put it together, and that's my editorial. It's just no. It's so no, that, Denise, that like this is a huge miss. And then the type of products that you choose, you can't upsell just with words a product that when you really look at it, it's just like, that's not really us. Like no one cares about this product. Like as far as putting this in your portfolio, no, you're not putting this in your portfolio. And again, I'm going to remind you, like if you look at what Garan has in his portfolio, like if you look at Garan Rath, this fine photographer that we're talking to right now, if you look at Garan and what he has, like look at the level of products that he has. Dolce and Gabbana. Do you see the difference between Dolce and Gabbana and what you're showing? Like for me, it doesn't hit. The difference is just, it's so monumental that you don't even spend any time shooting this type of product because it's not selling you as a premium photographer. It's just not. So you just don't do that. So focus on, when it comes to product selection, you need to invest in a product that you're shooting for your portfolio. And again, like, look at the like, you invest, you buy an amazing perfume, or you get a crazy watch, like you get like a crazy car, like the products that are actually like going, like when they're in your portfolio, people are like, wow, that's Prada, like Prada. Like that's where we're trying to take you, Denise. And I'm going to say this so clearly. There's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts when it comes to you being a premium. You don't practice on bad products. It's just a waste of your time. Only practice on premium luxury products. Stop buying stuff from the grocery store, from the drugstore, and thinking that you're going to get a product shot from it. This is not going to happen unless you're better at picking luxury looking packaging, which sadly, that is not luxury looking packaging. Denise, a very good swing. Thanks for submitting. Keep on going. This is what we're here for. This is what we're here for, is try to help you to get to the next level. That's Denise Tuggle, everybody. Garan Rath.
Right. Next up, we've got Israel Cardona III. Here, I present one of the Japanese sword instructors during a class with his students in Puerto Rico. I used natural light and a silver reflector.
All right. So this is Israel Cardona III. Israel, let's have a look. Thank you for submitting. Israel, image number 1. Image 2. Image 3. Image 4. And is there 5, Garan?
No, this is the last one.
Okay, so let's go back to image number 1, and I'm going to talk about it. This is a strong first swing, good light, good crop, good cover for me. Like, I think, oops, let me hide that. That is a really, for me, a strong swing for a cover. It's cropped well. There's good spacing. He looks great. There's like, it's strong. I can show you this as an 8x10. I would definitely pull him down to about here. That's how it's going to look when you post to social media. All right, next image. Oh, sorry. Next image. This for me, let's hide these two cameras. This for me, light-wise, idea-wise, like, this is just, it's not at the, and also just perspective-wise, like, too flat on the horizon. It's just too straight across the middle. You're just standing there. The dappled lighting, the exposure, we're losing his hair on the background. Like, again, it's not enough of a picture. Like, I understand you're framing it as a double page spread, and I see how this page kind of works as a double page, but you can see a little bit of like room space is not exactly right. And then this page, which is its own page, well, they're pushed way too far that way. The exposure on him there is low. It's fighting with this dappled light as being the most bright and like grabby thing in this scene. This for me isn't it. This like, we kind of lose it in this picture. But again, a good swing still, Israel. This one, the dappled light is killing you. Like, we don't shoot when there's sun and shade in the same spot. The exposure on him versus the exposure back here versus the exposure back here. Now you're completely losing the back of his head. And look at the light on his face is both like light and dark. That dappled light, we don't shoot under this condition because it's the wrong condition. Look at how little raccoon eyes that we have on him, but then there's no light on her, and then there's no light on him, but he also has raccoon eyes. So to me, this is not the right vibe here. for what I think that we're trying to do. This guy, including in this picture, and also you have to kind of frame it like this is just a tricky capture. This needs to be shot from a drone above, aiming down. So the shot looks like this, and then you have instructor here with this person, and then something happening here, and then something like that. Now is an interesting dynamic, but again, just the dappled sunlight, you just standing and just shooting like straight there. It doesn't hit hard enough. This frame, again, great frame again. Good light here, good exposure. I like this kind of out of focus, two subjects in front, works as a cover, works as like an 8x10. So the first and the last for me are the strongest, but there's like this one for me is just not good enough. And then this picture is just another version of this picture, standing in literally the same spot exactly. Like there's no perspective change between this picture and this picture. So again, that's kind of so first and last, you're really hitting it, but what's happening in between, for me, we're jumping the shark. Garan?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. The first and last pictures I think are fantastic. The middle picture or the double page spread, I think if you wanted to get where they are kneeling behind their instructor in preparation for the practice, the guy who's got his back directly to camera, if he was removed and we were a little bit more perpendicular to the group and cutting the middle of the page directly between the instructor and the row of students, that would have worked better. And then the third shot, again, perspective, sort of eye level, just looking at a scene, not really framing anybody specifically, the guy being cut off behind him. Those things don't work. But you've done quite a bit of stuff with this group. I'd say work a little bit more with them and really set this as a challenge for yourself. Build a story with these guys, and then let's get some more feedback on that story, because I think you can build something here. Your instructor is very interesting, and the story is around him. Again, detail shots are missing, so show us something that's more personal to him, or tells us a little bit more about what this art of the sword is doing. So show us hands, show us the blade, show us a little bit more about the gi that they're wearing, all those kind of
So
things.
important. Those are very good points. Like, it's not just overview, like punch in, show detail shots. And you've proven here that you can find and shoot perfect light on location. You did it here, and you also did it in the last shot. You also did it here, right? But this is just him now sitting, where before he was standing, but it's in the exact same spot. But this is the best light. So then this picture, which is bad light, don't shoot this picture. Don't shoot this picture in this way, because it doesn't work. And also this picture, don't shoot this picture in this way, because it doesn't work. Because of the mixed light, you have to recognize in these scenes what light works and what light doesn't. And you can also, like, we use strobes. We bring outdoor strobes. Like, there's ways that we can fix bad scenes. D. Rowe asked me a really great question about, like, can I touch on the difference between making pictures and taking pictures in an editorial context? Guren, tell me that's not a great question. Like, that is such a great question. And if you really think about it, like, taking pictures and making pictures are two completely different things. Taking a picture is something is happening, I'm not interacting with that person, and I'm just squeezing photos. Making picture is concept and like idea and execution. You can do that when you're in a situation where you're shooting editorially, where you're documenting something that's happening, and that just has to do with your control and your discipline as far as where you are in your framing. And also, like, when you're asked to document something as it's happening, well, you have to take an editorial stand as to the way that you do it, the way that you shoot, the lens that you use. Like for me, mixing in black and white with color, like there's like not just shooting the whole thing on one lens, which it feels very much like you shot the whole thing on one lens, like flipping to an 85 or using a 100 and then using depth of field where like you have to shift perspective. The one no is mixed light, like light and shadow in your scene is a no. So if I walked through here, if I was talking to him, I would say, hey, you know what? This is a mixed light situation. Can we shoot this somewhere where it's either all sun or all shade? And I'm sure he'd be like, yeah, I know a spot like that. And we just go there. And then now you're actually taking the control back because now everybody's in shade or everybody's in light. And then it makes the photography better. Now, if you don't have that control, well, you need to know like, well, this is creating this kind of a light and that's going to create that kind of result. And that's going to make my images less impactful. So you did shoot this, but you also shot that. So for me, these kinds of pictures aren't at the same level as this picture is, and you have to know the difference. Thank you so much for submitting. This is honestly a really, really good swing. That was Israel Cordona III. Thanks for submitting. Who's next, G?
Next up, we've got submitter number 10 out of 22. So this is Samuel Salem.
I think Grant, just let me stop you here. Do we two-part this? Because I felt like I had no idea how long it was going to take to go through all of these submissions. We've been going for 90 minutes. Like, what are your thoughts here?
I hear that absolutely, because you're giving detailed review of each image, and that takes time. And I mean, now we've got our ProLab members coming up, and I'm sure they wanna get the same level of detail
100%
on their shots.
100%. I don't want to suddenly now start rushing. And again, it's like, it's hard to also absorb this, but it's so valuable and it's so important as someone who's maybe trying to shoot for magazines, maybe trying to get published. For me, I've been shooting for magazines since I was 22 years old, I think was the first time that I got published. The first time I shot a cover, I was 23. So I've been shooting for magazines for like more than half my life. And like this for me is my language. I see it very easily, but I also think that it's unfair if I just like rush through these reviews and be like, oh yeah, you did great. Okay, next. Like, like I need to tell you where you need help. So Grant, what do we decide? Like we're at image number which, or so photographer number which?
We're going into ProLab now, and that's Samuel is number 10 out of 22. So we're pretty much halfway.
Much almost halfway, and we've now reviewed all of the Portfolio Lab members. Is that what I understand?
Correct. Yes.
So what do? Do we break here, save Portfolio, the ProLab members for Tuesday? And then deep dive into that, because again, I think that we could wrap it up on Tuesday, and then I can tell these guys what the assignment is that I'm looking at on Thursday, and then what the assignment that we're doing the week after.
Looking at what's coming up, I would suggest maybe that's it, because there's some really powerful series is coming up. I'm looking at them in the film strip, and yeah, this is going to need some detail feedback.
Okay.
There's some good stuff coming. Tuesday's going to be a banger of a show.
Okay, well then I think to me, like, that's what we do. Like that, to me, that's the jam. That's what we do. We wrap it. I mean, we got 55 people watching. Again, you guys got to know, I needed a vacation. I needed to stop. The last time I went like so ham without stopping, like I had like a full on like shutdown. Like I actually had a forced shutdown, which was, like I work incredibly hard. I have my photography business and video business, and I'm part of this founders group. I have the Carty method. I have a team of 8 people that help me run this. I have 4 coaches. There's just a lot of things that I have on the go. And every once in a while, I have to step back and like really just disconnect. And I tried my best, Corinne, to disconnect in Cape Town. But you even saw there like what that vibe was for with me, like the first couple of days that you were with me, like how I'm wound pretty tight, G. Like I
Yeah,
thought.
you are, and I think it was interesting watching you, like trying to interact the way you are, like your normal way of things are happening fast and all the time, and you're always, in work mode, always pushing the limits, and then you got into African time, and we just don't work the same way, and you had to slow down, you had to be less rushed, and that was good for you, I think. And it was interesting seeing the first 3 days, and then you after that, where we sort of got into our rhythm, and I could really see you starting to enjoy yourself.
Well, I enjoyed myself the whole time, my guy. There was no time that I wasn't enjoying myself, but it's just like the amount of, hey, Miko, welcome. Thanks for subscribing. There's not a time that I'm not engaged. It's just like I I, I just want you guys to wrap your head around it. Like Sunday, I was in Africa. Just wrap your head around it. Like it's Sunday, I was in Africa. Like I was, as the crow flies, 13,400 kilometers away. As the plane flies, oh my God, like what was that? 30,000 kilometers. Like I flew, to get there. But, yeah, I changed me a little bit. It's forced me to slow down a little bit. The things that I saw, the biggest thing that I noticed is people care, and people try really hard, which I feel like it's an observation. Like I've traveled so many different places in the world. I've been to England and Europe and all over the US and all over Canada and Central America and Africa. It's like one thing I noticed about South Africa is people really care and they really try. And there's some cool things, some really great things that are amazing there. I mean, obviously, there's things that aren't amazing there, but that's true for every place, which is true for Canada. It's true for the US. It's true probably for the place that you live. But when we travel, it really unlocks something. Travel unlocks a new level. And if you ever feel stuck, or if you feel like you're not like in the right place, the smartest thing to do is to get on a plane and fly somewhere else. Get on a bus and fly somewhere else. One of my viewers used to live in Pittsburgh, and now he lives in Florida. And again, this guy, I don't think he had ever been to Florida. I used to live in Florida. I used to live in Miami. I don't think he has ever even been to Florida, but he moved to Florida. And again, it's like the smartest thing because it's a reset. Travel really changes you. And going to Africa is something I've wanted to do my entire life. Thank God I finally have been there. And now I'm going to go over here. So, Garan, our plan is to move the rest of this, the remaining, call it 12 photographers that we need to look at their stories. We'll move that to Tuesday. Sunday, We're going to have a banger of an episode because Sunday's the Carty Method podcast. Like there's so many different ways that I can go. There's so many different ways I can show you guys some stuff. I can show you work. I can show you South Africa, or I can talk business because there's lots of that on the go. We could talk business. So I'm super excited about that. Sunday's episode will be dope. But Tuesday we'll continue this. Let's get into the assignments, Garan, because it is Thursday and I wasn't here on Tuesday. So we need to update people as to like what next week Thursday is assignment is, what I'll be looking at from you on Thursday, because obviously we're going to finish up this part. The Pro Lab members do their editorial assignments. We're going to finish that up on Tuesday. But Thursday, we have an assignment. We're going to be looking at assignments then. So Thursday, what are we looking at?
So Thursday, we're looking at lifestyle on location, right? And that is,
Oh, I love this assignment. I'm so happy about this. Keep going. Keep going.
okay, it says here, create one image that blends your personal photography style with a local setting, instantly communicating a lifestyle story to potential clients. People photographers capture a portrait that places your subject within a real life environment, highlighting the energy and the vibe of the local area. Focus on naturally posing and lifestyle authenticity. Feature recognizable local elements that add to the story, family, wellness, fashion, or social scenes. Places photographers document a location using your signature style, emphasizing the lifestyle energy of the environment. Think about composition, timing, and the local details that tell the broader lifestyle story: urban hangouts, nature escapes, gathering places, or hidden gems. And then finally, things photographers shoot a product or object in its natural location context as part of everyday life. Showcase your skills in lighting and styling, use authentic backgrounds and lifestyle cues, coffee, tech, fashion accessories, etc., that root the story in your community. And this is a single image, vertical.
Amazing. So, just to inspire you guys on lifestyle, I'm going to show you the work of Anna Wolf. This is a lifestyle photographer. You can see lifestyle photography is life. And this photographer is heavily biased on architecture, fashion, lifestyle is defined as real people doing real things shot in a stylized way. Okay. And you can see that this photographer, not all of her images involve people, but her portfolio works together so beautifully. So lifestyle photography is next week, lifestyle on location. So I want you to be really pushing how you're going to be telling lifestyle stories on location. I'm asking for a single image, but the whole idea here is ongoing. Everything that you're shooting, you should be thinking about shooting 4, 5, 6 pages, just covers, double page spreads, and mixing up all your stories. So Garan, the week after that, we also have another assignment, which is literally, I'm doing this assignment because it's like my favorite assignment. It's my favorite assignment. So what's the assignment for 2 weeks from now?
All right. So week 37, which is going to be due, which we will be reviewing on the 18th of September, will be your niche at night. And it says, I'm just going to give you a short description here. We'll post the full length one in the assignments folder. It says create an image that showcases your niche after dark. Use ambient and or artificial light to bring attention to the subject in a night scene. Again, vertical, single page. And this matters because mastering night photography proves your versatility and ability to create compelling images in challenging lighting, expanding your market appeal and technical skill set.
Beautiful. So let's just show you a little bit of my niche at night. Damon Green, outdoors at night, lit by outdoor portable strobe on raw light with no reflector. I love night photography and I do it often. I mix in low light photography. Let me show you one more that I shot for CBC. This is shot for a CD cover. Again, my niche at night. Rapper, his name is Juice, and outdoor strobe. I mean, this is actually outdoor LED, smoke machine, night photography. Super powerful. I really pride myself in the type of work that I can do under difficult conditions. Again, CBC, she's a TV host. She does the 11 o'clock news. They hired me to shoot her. They said, when should we? And I'm like, we're shooting her at night. They're like, really? It's like, yes, we're shooting her at night. She's on the 11 o'clock news. No one ever sees her during the day. We have to shoot portraits of her outside at night with the Toronto skyline in the background. So your niche at night. I also just want to show you a little bit of personal work. Again, at night with LED wands, like one LED wand, 3 bursts, long 30-second exposure. You can do so much at night. Your niche at night is one of my favorite assignments to give you, but I'm showing you night in your portfolio adds like a certain level. Not every photographer has the confidence to shoot at night. I live for those kind of challenges. Show me something. Your niche at night. Garan. Good show, yeah. Good vibe. I feel good being back. I'm super excited to be jamming with you again and having you again. I said to this guy, like, I'm not doing my show unless you're participating with. I miss you being the guy who I get to bounce off of in person. So I'm going to try to force Garan, if he will do it, a little bit more into doing our Thursday shows, the Thursday review shows, because again, he's good. He adds a nice little dimension to me, and he adds perspective, which is different than mine and so necessary. Grant, any last things to say before we wrap up this fancy show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
How about
just
Portfolio Lab workshop
Yes.
today? We can talk about that. And our little webinar tonight. Let's talk about that. 2 things.
Yes. So so at 3:30 your time,
2:30.
What is it?
2:30 my time.
2:30
my time.
2:30 Eastern Central Time, Standard Time. We've got the usual Thursday Portfolio Lab workshop session, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about why we want you guys to step up from Portfolio Lab into the Pro Lab or the Accelerator, the 18-week camera to cash flow challenge. So we're going to be engaging with our Portfolio Lab members there, and we're already watching a couple of you, and I think it's time that you guys take the next step. And then we have a webinar information session tonight that is open to anybody that's registered on the cartymethod.com/accelerator page, free to attend. Carty will be going through the Pro Accelerator, breaking it down, who's it for, what you can expect while we're doing it, and why this is probably the best business photography related education system on the internet. I constantly am looking. I haven't found anything better. So come and join us for that. Come have a look and bring us your questions, and we'll be happy to answer you guys. So looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, it's great. And the thing that's great about the info session is, like, I try to do, I want you to be able to ask me anything that you can think of about the accelerator. And also, like, if you're in Portfolio Lab, we're already watching you. We're already and you might hear me say, hey, you'd be pretty good for my accelerator. And again, I'm not a hard sell kind of guy. Like, you either do it or you don't. It's totally good. But I got to tell you, when we do these info sessions, I bring in people who are in my accelerator currently. So you don't just have to ask me, ask them. Ask someone who's in my accelerator and let them answer your question as far as, like, what was it like? Because there's certain things that, like, people who are in it and benefiting from it are going to have perspective. And I also let people, like, there's people, I bring in my killers, like the Frank Toms and, like, the Ammons and, like, the Nick Johnsons. Like, Garan will be, like, I bring in my killers, like people who are in my accelerator, in Pro Lab, and really excelling. But I also bring in people who are in it and, like, maybe they're not moving quite as fast, because they also can be like, hey, like, I actually don't do the amount of work that I need to do, because it kind of calls them out a little bit too. So I don't know. It's transparency is the meta. Transparency is the meta. And this is a real great opportunity. Even if you're not in Portfolio Lab, you're just a viewer, you're just interested in the Carty method, you're interested in me and what I'm doing with my team here for photographers. If you're interested, go to thecartymethod.com. Go to cartymethod.com/accelerator, register. You'll get it. It's tonight. So you'll start getting emails and you'll get the Zoom link. And I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. For those who are in ProLab who want to hang out on Zoom and talk about all good things, we like editorial portraits, like your niche at night, like these assignments, like lifestyle photography, all the stuff that you guys are going to be working on in the next little bit. We're going to be talking about that right not now, but in 45 minutes or so, 2:30 my time on Zoom. Garan, always a pleasure to have you on the show, my guy. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, my guy. And you guys at home for watching. Thank you. I appreciate you. If this brings you love, if this brings you value, you got to tell somebody. You got to share, make a clip, like tell a friend, tell that photographer that you're struggling. And even sharing to your social network helps me more than you possibly know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Let's see if I remember how to do this.
This commercial-free live stream was brought to you by the members of this channel. If it wasn't for you, we'd have to fill up these live streams with ads that would just interrupt the flow. The members of this channel make commercial-free content during these live streams possible. Consider becoming a member for $5 a month today to gain access to secret live streams, live chats, and to show your support with that crown badge next to your name. Sharing is caring. If this content has brought you value today, share it, clip it, post it to your socials. Curating and sharing helpful content makes you an expert, even if the content you're sharing isn't yours. Be a curator and share this content with your network. If you're an emerging or struggling photographer that's trying to break free from your current 9-to-5 grind and transition to the life of a working pro photographer, that's our obsession here at the Carty Method. Register, get the support you need. If you're alone and struggling at this craft, make sure you join the Carty Method community. You'll always find help in the show notes. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Find your creative and business genius with the Carty Method.